You are welcome to this channel. Don't forget to like, to share, and also to subscribe to our channel. In the news today, Akpabio, if you spend all your energy fighting the executive, who will work for Nigeria? Sumna Sambo. In a recent appearance on Arise TV, political commentator Sumna Sambo delivered a pointed critique of Senate President Godswill Akpabio, accusing him of personalizing the Senate presidency and mismanaging the responsibilities of coalition leadership within the Senate, Nigerian Senate. During a panel discussion centered on institutional integrity and the balance of power, Sambo called out Akpabio for frequently blurring the lines between his personal ambitions and the constitutional role of the Senate. One of the major flashpoints in Sambo's argument was the controversy involving Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, who was controversially suspended for 6 months without pay in March 2025 following a legal dispute. Sambo clarified that it was Akpabio as an individual, not the Senate as a collective institution, who initiated court action that led to her suspension, a move that critics saw as punitive and politically motivated. The Senate's Ethics and Privileges Committee eventually overturned the suspension, citing serious procedural irregularities, which triggered national discussions around fairness, gender representation, and legislative independence. Sambo highlighted the issue as symptomatic of deeper leadership flaws, arguing that Akpabio must recognize that the Senate presidency is not a personal fiefdom, but an institution meant to function inclusively. The office of the Senate president is a sacred one, first among equals. Sambo stated Akpabio must separate personal interests from institutional responsibilities and prioritize communication and collaboration, especially in a country as politically complex as Nigeria. He also addressed the widespread perception that the Nigerian Senate is overly subservient to the executive branch, to critique that has long haunted the legislature, while acknowledging the importance of a cooperative relationship between both arms of government. Sambo cautioned against blind allegiance. Not every bill or request from the executive should pass without scrutiny. That's not how democracy works. Yet, constantly battling the executive achieves nothing either. The goal should be a constructive balance. Sambo's remark reflect growing concern over transparency, leadership accountability, and the role of internal checks within Nigeria's political structure. As Akpabio continues to face public and institutional scrutiny, his ability to adapt to more inclusive leadership may define the remainder of his tenure. These were the submissions of Sumna Sambo, a political news editor or director in Arise TV, and he is a political commentator. He's trying to also hear his own view as regards what is going on in the Senate, especially between Senator Godswill Akpabio and Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. As far as he is concerned, his focus is on Senate leadership, the ability of the current occupier of that seat to detach his personal interests even from the paraphernalia of the office and the interests of the Senate at large. And from some of the things he pinpointed, there is an allegation or accusation upon the Senate president, the current Senate president Godswill Akpabio, of using his good office even in a bad manner, meaning that he has a personal issue with a fellow senator and he decided to use the artillery and machinery of his office to kind of quash the so-called senator colleague, and that ought not to be. And he gave this clear example that he is the one that instituted a court case, which eventually he now want to rub it over the senator and for the senator to be punished. But then the Senate Committee on Powers and Privileges upturn the whole situation, but still the influence of Senate president cannot be overemphasized. You can't even push it aside. That's the reality of the whole situation here. So it was so strong such that the senator in question was suspended and without pay. Even all the security aids were also removed, details, and even it even extend to the point that even his aides were not supposed to be paid. But if not for the fact that some other colleagues or senators or Nigerians make case for those people, that if you want to fight your enemy, face the person. Don't begin to fight every other thing that is around him. The people working with the woman, they are Nigerians, so they are not supposed to also share in your do individual fight. You are supposed to face each other and then let them do their own job as civil servant or public servant. Mr. Sambo also talk in the panel that is, centered on institutional integrity and the balance of power. He has to call that Akpabio for frequently blurring the lines between his personal ambition and constitutional role of the Senate. And one of the major flashpoints, as we have read in Sambo's argument, was the controversy involving these two aforementioned senators. At least Akpoti Uduaghan was, boxed to a corner with the instrumentality of the Senate instead of Akpabio personally fighting his own cause freely with the woman. She is busy using the exalted office of a Senate even to fight the woman. Now, at the end of the day, of course, the weaker one will have to cow down and go out. That's just the reality. But in truth, the leadership of Akpabio is called to question, which he needs to really look into. And I think that is what Mr. Somna Sambo is calling attention to, not only on the Senate, also every other person in the corridor of power today. If you have been given an opportunity to be a public servant and you are leading, you are supposed to lead as a servant leader, work for the people, and then eventually the people and posterity will remember you for good. In this, the Senate Ethics and Privileges Committee eventually overturned the suspension, citing serious procedural irregularities, which triggered national discussions around fairness, gender representation, and legislative independence. So it is important now that there is need for, the leadership flaws that are seen in Akpabio to be, taken care of. He was arguing that Akpabio must recognize that the Senate presidency is not a personal fiefdom, but an institution meant to function inclusively. Honestly speaking, anybody at the corridor of power, as far as Africa is concerned, they love to usurp it and lord it over others, but it won't help us. That's why Africa is backward. It's not taking us anywhere. And Nigeria as a whole, we need to get to this point in our life to have that understanding that it is the government of the people and it is for the people, even though it's run by the people. Immediately, whatever you are doing is not people oriented but self oriented, you begin to miss the mark and the gap, and then you begin to misuse the opportunity that has been granted unto you. So, Mr. Senate President and every other public office holder should learn something and glean some wisdom from what Mr. Somna Sambo has said, and let them begin to redirect their mind, their thinking, and whatever they want to do, even for the progress and the peace and purpose of mankind. Don't forget to like, to share, and also to subscribe to our channel. Thank you.